Hello, welcome along to the Christmas craft along. Let me just make sure I've got my setup and we'll get started. We're going to be making what I've called the Sparkly Christmas card, which is quite generic. I think it's because I'm still unsure whether to call these light bulbs or baubles, but they're cute either way. Let me just make sure this is set up. If you're watching along live, do let me know if you can hear me okay. I've got the mic set up and that should be okay. And if you want to say hello in the live chat featured while we're live, do say hello, let me know where you're watching from. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to add a little comment in the comments instead, and say hello that way. So wonderful, I've got this live chat in front of me now and I can see. Excellent. So let me tell you about what we've been making today. I'm just tangle up with this metallic thread there, let's put that to one side. So this is the Sparkly Christmas design. So it features 5 of these bulbs or baubles, and they've got, if I can catch the light on that, they've got this gorgeous glitter glue called Stickles, which is a really fine glitter, which is really easy to use, and we're going to add this glitter to the baubles today, and then the metallic threads, which is lovely, and the pearlized mount as well. So there's 3 lots of sparkle going on in here. Oh, so right, let me explain how these kits work. So there are 3. So all these designs are available as DIY kits to make yourself, and come in 3 different levels. So there's the beginner's kit, which has all the pieces cut out and glittered, ready for you to assemble into the card with full written instructions. Or the advanced kit, which has the pieces like this laid out, so they're stamped and ready for you to add the decoration and to cut them out and to put them together. That is what we're going to be making today. So I'll be starting from the advanced kit, and that will naturally progress into the beginner's kit about halfway through the video. There is also the expert kit. So the expert kit actually includes the stamps. So we've got the bulb here, and then the season's greetings. Yes, that one we used, isn't it? So the expert kit includes the stamps and then the cardstock that you need to make this design. So before you start this video, if you want to pause it, you'll need just to prep these bits. So you want 5 bulbs. You can have them in multicolour, you can have them all in gold or in red, so it's up to you what colours you want to do. So 5 of those, and then stamp just the tops of the bulb. It's the same stamp, but just the top of it onto white card or cream. It's up to you. And then prepare these 2 mounts. So these are cut. These are 4 by 4 inches and 3 3/4 inches square. So they sit like a perfect mount together. And then just add the little season's greetings to the corner of that card, and then you'll be good to go and join us making this card from where we are. So I also should say, in the advanced kit and the expert kit, you get the Stickles paint. So we've got the Stardust one. These come in a lot of different, subtly different glitter colours. So this is the Stardust, which we're using on the white card, and then if you've got the craft version, which are these richer blue tones, a bit more muted. It's got a slightly golder tone, so it's called Diamond. And it's got some golder glitter in there as well, golden glitter in there, so it takes a slightly different tone. But you can use this. The advanced kit comes with the Stickles glue, glitter glue, but it will last you for many other projects as well. It's great fun to use, so great to add to your craft supplies. So let me move these stamps. So let me say this. So the stamps are Playful Penguin stamps. I'm Della, so I've designed these images that we're using today. There's no penguins on this card, but we do have a full range of cards featuring the penguins and the igloos. But today we're just focusing on these lights. So these are photopolymer stamps. So each of them, they peel off of the sheet, and they cling to a acrylic block, and you can add ink and use them as stamps. Give them a clean with a wet wipe afterwards, and then put them back on the sheet, and you can use them again and again, and they'll last you a long time. I've just noticed we've got the reflection, so let me just turn the light off in the nice modern way. Alexa, turn off table light.
Okay.
That's it. So it reflects on the glass mat, which doesn't actually bother me when I'm crafting, but I know on the video it can get quite distracting. So let me move that out of the way. So these are 5 by 5 inch card blanks, or square card blanks, and the beginners and advanced kit actually come in a box to make 4 of these cards. So what you're seeing here is enough to make 1 card, but in the box you'll receive enough to make 4. So yeah, I think that's all I need to tell you. So the invite there, we can put that to one side, and let's get started. So if you've got any questions during today's workshop, do just add them to the live chat, which I'll just make sure I can see. I've got the screen up here, yeah, so I can see that. If you've got any questions, do add them on there, and if you've got a question watching the replay, add it to the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can, or you can reach out to me on social media. If you find me on Instagram or on Facebook, my handle is @DellaByDesign, and come and chat to me on there, and you'll see all the different other designs and inspiration we have going. So first things first, we need to get some glitter. Let's get some glitter on here. So we've got quite a few extra things we need today. Even I forgot a couple of them. So thanks, shout out to Chloe who reminded me just before we started. So you'll need a paintbrush. So I've got this paintbrush which has like a water chamber in the handle, which is quite handy because we only need a tiny bit of water, so I can just give it a gentle squeeze, and that. But it doesn't matter, just need a damp brush. If not, but you'll need a pot of water if that's what you need. We'll need a needle. So we're not sewing as such today, but we will be threading the embroidery thread just through the hole in the each bulb. So it's handy to have a needle. A nice embroidery needle with a large eye would be useful. I've got a ruler just because I've got some measurements to give you, so that could be handy. Obviously some glue and a sharp pair of scissors. Oh, we need some tape. So either sellotape or I'm going to use some washi tape. So just to secure the thread to the back of the card. What else? Is that everything? Oh, and I've got this foam pad. So, but you could use a ball of blue tack. If you don't have, you need to make some holes. So I've got this thick foam pad which I like to pierce holes in, as you can tell. If not, a ball of blue tack would work as well. So let's get started. The stardust. Right, so if you grab some scrap paper, it's always good to test this out. I'm going to move that card out of the way because it's don't want it to get too messy. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to make sure that this, when you get it new, it'll be fine, but just check that it's not blocked on the top, and if it has, you can use a pin or a needle. I'm just going to squeeze some out on there. That's fine. Now I've done this lots of times before, so this might feel a little bit daunting to you, but I'm going to go straight ahead and add some glitter onto here. So we're going to glitter 1, 2, 3 of them, so 2 on the darker colour and then 1 on here, and all I'm going to do is just add some glitter glue onto here. Could be quite generous, and then I'm going to use my, bring that on so you can see, I'm just going to squeeze my paintbrush so I get a little bit of water coming through. And then I'm just going to spread that out. I don't need to worry about staying in the lines. I can go all the way over the bulb. I don't have to colour in the cap, but I don't need to avoid it. And just get to the point where you're happy that the glitter's covered. Sometimes if you just turn it towards the light, you can just see where, if there's any patches you've missed. And then we're going to do the next one. Gentle squeeze just to get a little bit of water, just makes it a little bit easier to spread. Yeah, and so it's up to you. So I'm leaving this one plain because we're going to add the highlight glitter to the top. But it's up to you. You could have them all glittery like this. You could have them all glittery and add the highlight as well. But I'm going to stick to doing 2 on there and 1 on here. It gives a nice variety, so you've got different textures and different colours. And add some more to each one. So if you've got the box kit for this one, you can do these and you can do all this in one sitting, because you have them on a big sheet, so you can add the glitter to all of them in one go. There we go. Excellent. So I'm finished now with that paintbrush. I'm just going to just squeeze it a bit just so I can start getting the glitter off of there. Otherwise, when I come back to it in an hour's time, I'll regret not having a little bit of effort there. So it is glue, so it will dry onto the paintbrush. Right, I'll put that to one side. So we can now let those dry. And what we're going to do, so if you had lots of time and you wanted to prep all of these first, you could do the painting ones and then add the glitter to the highlight. That would be my natural next step. However, this takes sort of 1 or 2 hours to dry, so we haven't got that time to do that today. So if you are making a card in a bit of a rush, then we can paint it first, leave it to dry while we're doing the other bits, and then once we've constructed the card, we're going to come back and add the highlight on the end. It's a slightly more risky approach because obviously there's no room for error at that point, so it's up to you whether you want to do them at this stage and let them dry and come back to the card later. So just going to let the ones that are painted dry there, and then let's move our attention to these. So these are the caps of the bulbs. So it's the same stamp, I've just put on the edge of the white card. So I'm going to use this foam pad. So basically what we want to do is make a hole in the top of these so we can actually hang them. So the hole that I've actually got designed on the image, I actually find is too high. If you see, there's only a very thin black line above it, and I think if we did the hole there, we would the card would break. So what I'm going to do is I'll do one and I'll explain. So I'm actually just going to pierce the hole. I should explain what this is, shouldn't I? You can do this with a needle. This is what I call a pokey tool. It's just a sharp point that gets hidden away in there as I'm a needle. We can do it with a needle. This green might show, you can tell. So I've actually done the hole slightly lower than the hole on the image, but when the thread is through the hole, it covers up, so it will still look like it's hanging. You can see that, and we'll do the others. Yeah, so just aim for the black bit in the centre. There we go. And also we are going to now cut these out, but it's worth making that hole first before you cut them out, because of the pressure you have to push to get through the card. It helps the card, otherwise it just sort of bends with the pressure. So now what we're going to do is cut out each of these. I'm just going to follow around the little wibbly wobbly sides. So I'm aiming to cut on the outside of the black line, so not leaving any white gap. And then just scoop around the base. And there's our first one. So we'll just cut the rest of these out, and hopefully by the time we finish these, those should be dry, or at least dry enough to cut out. So yeah, feel free to cut these off of the main piece of card. It can be easier to get around in the detail without the card kind of restricting the scissors. And if you notice, I'm holding the scissors still and I'm rotating the card, and that gives you more control. So if you're watching along live, do say hello in the comments. I've got one from Ox Life. It says a cute craft. I think this is quite a cute card. So it's quite sophisticated as well. There's something about like the monotone of the blues makes it quite stylish. But it's up to you whether you want to make this card with multicoloured lights, or you could stamp the bulbs onto different, like silver card, pearlized card, mirror card, and have quite an eye-catching sparkly card. It'd be lovely. So if you've not seen my videos before, this is the pace we like to work at. So I don't try and rush the craft. I do plenty of time-lapse videos, but I keep them on Instagram. But the idea of these videos is that if you've bought the kits, you can craft along with me at the same pace without feeling rushed or having to pause or rewind. And you can just go at a gentle pace like I am. I expect this class will take us up to 2 o'clock, so it should be an hour. Well, I think I thought that yesterday, and the one I did yesterday was a bit longer, but this is a quicker card to make, and I'll give you some helpful tips along the way. Okay, that's all 5. Let's make a little pile of the cuttings out over here. So let's have a quick these. Yep. So because that was quite thin, it's the stuff on there. I've got some lumps and bumps around the outside that are wet, but the actual bulbs are dry. But I'll tell you what, let's start by cutting out the one that's not. Give it a bit more time. So if you're just joining onto the live workshop, we have used the Stickles glue to paint the glitter onto these. We're just letting them dry. I'm going to cut this one out. We're keeping this one plain because we're going to add the glitter on to just the highlight for this one. Right, so we're cutting out the bulb on this one, and we're going to keep the cap on because what we want to do is have the cap there for us to glue the white cap on top. However, we don't need to worry about fussy cutting around the detail. So what we can do is just cut into it and across and back down, and then pick it up on the bulb again, so you can see that. So nice and quick and easy. And I do believe, so if you've got the beginner's kit, which I need to say this later on when we fast forward, if you have got the beginner's kit, then I've been back and forth over whether to leave the top of the cap on, but I've cut them out quite neatly because I didn't want to put them in looking like they were kind of miscut. So if I have left the top on, you will need just to trim the top bit where the hole is, because basically we want to use the hole that we've made in the cap. So again, I'm cutting on the outside of the back line. It's a nice easy swoop. I love a bit of fussy cutting, is what this is called. So you can bubble cut, where you cut around the image and leave a little I'm gonna say white halo, but it's not. This isn't white card, but leave a sort of an edge around. But this is fussy cutting, so actually, I'm getting distracted. You're actually cutting along the image. But I've designed the stamps with fussy cutting in mind, because I know that I'm going to be cutting them out, so I deliberately keep them with nice thick black lines, so you can cut around them quite easily. And once you're in the zone, it becomes quite therapeutic just to cut things out. I've been what I like to do is I have a box of stuff that that I've stamped or I want to cut out, and I'll stack them up, and then in the evening I'll just grab the box and my scissors, curl up on the sofa, and I'll just cut them out whilst half watching, half listening to some TV. It's always good to maybe to re-watch some series. So I think I can picture every Friends episode just by listening. I don't actually need to look up at the screen. So if you've got the box kit for these, there will be enough to make 4 cards, so there'll be 20 bulbs in there. So it's up to you whether you do them in one batch or you make one card at a time. There we go. One more to go. Nope. It's autopilot. I want to fussy cut the top, but remember we're not. We just need to cut the cut roughly around the top, because we're going to glue the white cap on top. There we go. So I'll just move this to one side. Put that in the recycling in a bit. So what we are looking for is, when we're gluing these on top, we want to be able to still use the hole that we've made. So make sure if you have gone too far, just trim it down. And if you've got the beginner's kit, just check that it's not too far over. So okay, next thing, I'm going to stick the tops on. So I'm going to use this Glossy Accents glue. It's not actually a glue, it's actually used to add sort of, not glittery decoration, but it dries clear, but it adds like a nice sheen or gloss to the top. But it works very well as a glue. It's very strong, and it stays wet for a little bit, so you've got time to manoeuvre the card into place before it sticks. So that's always really handy. So I'm just going to leave that for a sec and have a drink of water, because where it is so wet. If I push those on now, it would seep out. So I need to let it just cure for a little bit. So let me add these. I'm just going to gently put them on. I'm not going to put any pressure on them yet. I'm just going to lay them on top, just so it starts to take. Okay. It's all a bit of a waiting game, this one. So if you've got a PVA glue or tacky glue, craft glue, you'll know your glue of how much time you have to leave it. Let's get that. Make sure these are all in the right position. So just line up the image with the one underneath. And if you've got any extra bits coming out the side, you can always trim those back. A little bit of glue leak in there. That's all right. Let those. Okay, just going to let those dry. Finish off. So let's do the thread next. So this is the metallic. It's called metallic embroidery thread. I have to say, I've done some embroidery in the past. I would not want to embroider with this. It's a bit. It's got a life of its own, or mind of its own. So what I've actually got here is the amount of thread that I have put in the box kits to make 4 cards. This is actually 4 times what we need. So what I'm going to do is, so if you've got the box kit, you'll need to do as I'm doing. So I'm going to fold it in half and just cut it into half into 2 pieces. And then if you have a look closely at the thread, it's actually in 2 strands. So normally embroidery thread would be in 6 strands. This is in 2. So we'll have. We just need one of them for here. Now, what I recommend doing is not trying to split them like this, because, like I say, it has a mind of its own. It likes to knot when you're splitting it. You know, all the tricks of teasing it and pulling it. Normal embroidery thread doesn't seem to work with this one. it likes to knot onto itself. So what I'm going to do is cut each of these to the right length and then split them when they're smaller pieces. And if you are watching this live, or if you've got the craft along kit, so every time I launch these new designs, I run a craft along, which is what this week is. So and if you've got a craft along kit, you've got the kits to make an individual card, so all 5 of them for the week. So if you've got that, then just have a look at the thread that I've included in your kit, and it should be a single thread anyway, so you've already got this step done. So, and in the written instructions, I think I'm going to write them down here as well for you. I meant to have a Sharpie pen so I could write this down. So I've got the instructions here. So I've included the length of the thread, just so that you can be confident when you've got the right amount of thread, because obviously the thread is in different heights based on the different bulbs. So I've included enough for you to do an 8-inch thread, 6-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch, and another 4-inch. So that's how much thread you should have. Hopefully you can see that on the screen. And just going to bring in my ruler. So it might feel 8 inches might seem like a lot for a 5-inch card, but it is doubled. It's doubled over when we put it on the card. So let's start with that. Cut that onto 8. Cut a 6-inch one. And then I'm gonna jump to the 4 one because I can keep that one whole. Or should I show you that it's all there? And then that leaves me with 5. Excellent. So I'll leave that on the screen for a bit if you just need that for reference. Each of these I'm now going to split these in 2. That's nice. In fact, I might come back to those, do them one at a time, otherwise we're going to get in a bit of a mess. So at this point, you're welcome to. Did I try this before? Yeah, depending on how big the hole is that you've made, you might be able to thread it through. But I think I'm going to need to use a needle, which I know I've just cutting these into 5 strips. I now have 5 needles to thread. There we go. And so I'm going to copy my design. So the longest one is this one at the bottom. I'm just going to thread it through, just hold on to one end, and then let go of the needle, pull the needle off, and then pull these up together until you get to the end, and then just to keep them under control, I'm going to tie a knot at this end. I might change my mind about that. In fact, yeah, let's. There we go. That older rolling technique. I've done that. So let's make up all of these. This is where it really feels like a blue Peter. Here's the 5 I made earlier. And make more sense. So then I'm taking the 6-inch one, split this one, put it on there. So the next, I think these are, the 5 and 6 are quite similar. So the next one I'm going to go for is the blue, all glittery, dark blue, all glittery one. Thread that through there. Take it off the needle. So let's see if this works again. I'll show you what I'm doing this time. So if you've not done this technique before, so to wrap it around in a circle over your finger till you get the end, and then just rub backs and forwards until it takes, and then drag it across, and you kind of get a messy knot, but a knot nonetheless. And then this one is the 5. Split this out into 2, and let's have a look. So this will be the light blue, all glittery one. Again. So you can experiment with this is just showing you the length that I've made for this one, but you can experiment with different ways to position the bulbs. Oops. Nothing like the pressure of trying to thread a needle on a live video. There we go. This one comes on the back. And if you're using your own thread and you're not worried about running out, then you can do it in one strip, thread the needle once, and then do each bulb and trim it off as you go. And then actually I'll leave that on because I've got these are both 4 inches, so missed a thread. If I do that first time then. I think both of these are going to be the same. As I'm playing with this bit too much, it's splitting out the thread. There we go. Should be at the bolt, yeah. Making sure the knot wasn't within the, the distance. And one more left to do. Like I say, I wouldn't want to actually embroider with this thread. I remember my sister used to do lots of cross stitches, and I remember there were a few that had like a metallic-y highlight, like on the last one she did. I remember being very frustrated with the the small amount of work she had to do with metallic threads. There we go. There's that one, and then we can say goodbye to the needle. And just tie this one in a knot in the end. So just tightening the knot in the end just makes it a little bit more, puts us in control. I won't accidentally unthread them. There we go. And it also gives something to where we're sticking them to the back of the card. It's got a little bit of more friction to hold on to, which is always good. So next, let's take all this. So if you see here, these threads go over the white square of card, and onto the back. So have an experiment with the layout. I'm going to copy mine. You're welcome to do the same. So this one goes off the base. Let's have a look. Just check we've got everything lined up as we would like. And there. Lovely. This one's kind of on its own at the top. So space them out, have a little play. You can change the layout. Now, I think even I was about to do this, but resist the urge to glue the thread down first. What we're actually going to do is glue the bulbs down first, get them into position, and then we'll attach the threads straight. So one more thing, I don't think I mentioned this at the start, but if you have, I have said in my messages out before this video started, is to bring along a wooden spoon. As bizarre as it may sound, we're going to use this. We can, if you've got like a thick marker pen or something like that, so something that's sort of a big solid round. What we're going to do is curve the bulbs around the spoon to give them that shape. So you can see at the moment, especially where they've been painted with the glitter glue, they start sort of curving in odd ways. So take each bulb and just lay it on the spoon and then just gently fold it around, and that will transform them into a nice curve. And also, if you get that curve, it means that when the light catches the card and the glitter, like there will be the glitter will shine at whatever angle the card is. So I'm going to do this one as well. So you can do all of them, but we will be gluing the bottom two ones directly onto the card, so they will lose their curve, but it does stop them from curving upwards depending on how your card reacted. So I'm just going to give them a little curve, but I am going to be gluing them down flat. Or you can have, so I'm going to raise 3 of them on foam pads to make them 3D. You can raise all 5 of them if you wish. Up to you. So again, I'm just going to get these into position, so that I can just remove the ones which are put my fingers on the ones that are staying and then remove the ones which are raised up, and I'm going to glue these ones down onto the card. So I'm going to use the wet glue again on this one. So this one does go off the edge, but I'm not going to worry about cutting it first. I'm going to glue it onto the card, and then once it's dry I will trim the excess. But what I will do is just make sure I haven't got too much glue on the base, otherwise it's going to get very messy. And then what that is. So this one is entirely on, so I can add glue to all of this one. Okay. Now to make the others 3D, we've got the kits will come with foam pads, which are these things. So these are foam, they're sort of double-sided, sticky, so they've got backing paper on both sides. but they're foam in the middle, so it raises it up. So, and what we can do, as you can see with this, you can trim them down to size. I think actually these ones are fine for these, so you can peel them off. So lots of ones of these are available. You might have squares or rectangles, but if you aim to have one to stick along the middle, and then one on here. Actually, what I'm going to do, because I've got a really nice curve on these bulbs, I'm a bit worried that it's going to actually, because it looks like the curve of the foam pad is rolling, so when it goes onto the card it will pull it down flat. So I'm actually going to add a second layer, but a thinner layer. So I'm going to cut these in half lengthways, and then remove the backing sheet, and then glue this thinner strip in the middle, which will help keep that curve. And I'm going to leave the backing sheet on there just so while we're getting everything ready. I'm going to do the same for all the others. There we go, and I'm just going to lay them on here once again, because I want to make sure I've got them in the right place, the right length. Bits. So if you see on this, the blue one here, I've actually kept it going over the edge, so I'm just going to make sure that's hitting the right spot. It's a nice little design feature there. And then this one's going to come down here. Beautiful. So let's do this one first, I think. Metallic thread attaching to the bit of foam pads I've got open. Going to hold that straight in case I catch the thread. Beautiful. So the double layer has its benefits and its downfalls. So I think it's going to look lovely because it's going to really raise them up and keep that curve. But it does mean that the bulbs are sticky because of the two layers. So where I'm trying to do this, it's just want to make sure that's further enough down to give enough space. Go. And one more. So this one I want to come off the edge slightly, just hit that corner. Lovely, but I still want the hanging point to be on the white card because that's the next step. So now what I'm going to do is put all these in one direction. So what I'm going to do, I found the best way to do it is I'm going to add some, this is a tape runner, so it's that double-sided tape. So if you've got a strip of double-sided tape, you can put across the top here, and that just helps to catch the thread and keep it in the right place. It wouldn't be enough to hold it, so we will be putting the sellotape or washi tape on top. So I'm just going to get some bits of this ready. Here. and what a nice little trick on these is to hold them and then to twist them in your fingers, because then you get that rolled look, which looks like the wire. And then you can just tack it onto the tape on the back. And then let's see how we go. Let's see if I can do all of them before taping them, but we'll see. I might need to tape them as I go. So, especially the longer ones, just hold the end and keep twiddling until you get that lovely effect. And then pull them straight. So you're looking for like a well, parallel to each other, perpendicular to the rest of the card. You want it to go straight to the top. And just tack it onto the tape. And then this one, roll it in your fingers. So again, if you do get the angle slightly wrong, then with the double-sided tape, you can peel it off, and not the tape, but you can peel off the thread and stick it down again. Okay. It's quite nice because you can, rather than sort of sticking on the back and being blind, you can actually see how it's coming together, but the glue is doing all that. There we go, lost one. Do this one again. What I will do, take that as a warning shot. I'll add some tape to hold that in place. And then do this last one. So last bit of tape. So if your tape goes over the edge, you can just trim it down. But doesn't matter what tape it is or how neat and tidy it is. No one's going to see this bit. So squish those down. And then if you just want to adjust them a bit so you've got them straight, looking lovely. So by the time now that glue will have dried on this one, so I'm going to trim this one off, but I'm going to keep this one on. So I need a sharp pair of scissors and just use the white card as a guide to push against, and just trim that off straight across the bottom. Alright, so let's get the other bits of the card together. So we've got the mount, so that would be, so if you've pre-cut that will be, give an even border on each side. But what we're going to do is actually stick this onto the card first, because well, it will become clear. So I'm just going to use normal glue. Actually, I might use 2 glues on this one, because this mount is I say it's doing a lot of the work of the card. So everything you're putting on the card is being held onto the card blank with this piece of card. So I do like to, I say, double glue. I use a wet glue or a tape, and I'll mix and match just so that, depending on what condition, I mean, you never know with a handmade card. You could give it to someone who cherishes it and brings it out every Christmas to put on the mantelpiece. So you want it to last more than just one season. So, and I find with two glues, then you're doubling your chances, because if one is like the right is stored in the wrong conditions and can dry out, but with the 2 you should be okay. So then this one's going to go up. So what we're going to do, because of all the knots and stuff at the back, we're actually going to raise this up on foam pads as well, and that helps disguise all the sort of the workings going on. So if you've got, so the kit will come with plenty of these foam pads, enough for you to cover the back. It doesn't have to be completely like gridlocked, but if you would prefer not to waste that many foam pads, you can use foam tape if you've got it, so that comes in a roll, and you can just do like 4 strips across the back. I'm going to use these because I didn't grab the tape when I sat down to work here. So I'm going to add this. It'll take a little time, but it'll be worth it. I did grab another. I've got 3 extra ones. Hopefully I've got enough. So just spread them out. I might need to go and get some more. I'm going to try and avoid putting the foam pads on top of the knots, because the knots are already the highest point. So I don't want to make them higher again, but I will be putting some across the top there. Also, this helps keep the dud one, keep the strings in place, already fit in place. So let me, I'm just about too short. This one got a bit, might be okay actually. I also had a fight with this one when I first tried to use it. Maybe one more. Wonderful. So just push all these down and then peel these off. So the reason why we're doing this, I know I wanted to use glue tape on that one. It meant if we were, the pressure you're using to push this on, you wouldn't want to put that pressure on. You would have to put a lot of pressure on it, which you don't want to do. You spend all that time making it look beautiful. So it helps having some nails for this. If not, you could use the like the pokey tool type thing, or tweezers, just to get the corners of these off. Or if you're using tape, then you've only got 4 to do. Yeah. It'll be finished by now, I'm sure. Nearly done. I think that's all of them. Yep. So just line this up so you've got a nice even border around the edge. I'm very light with it, so I've got a chance to move it if I'm not happy. So push that down. Bits of glue off there, and you can fold the card. And that's our sparkly Christmas card finished. No, it's not. So if you had prepped all the bulbs beforehand, this would be finished. However, we've got one more step to do. So what I'm going to do is add the highlight to the 2 bulbs that we didn't glitter at the start. So if you, even if you're usually lots of time, so even I'm quite confident doing this, I will always have a piece of scrap paper, and basically I test out the pressure needed for the stickles before adding them to a card. So I'd use scrap card, so press until it starts to come out, and just practice dragging. So what I do is I hold it at a sort of 45-degree angle. I let the edge of the plastic nib touch the card, and then when it starts to flow, I'll start dragging it back, and then I lift up quite quickly to finish a line. So having a good practice at that, make sure you're happy with that, and even if you're quite confident, I always want you to do that, because you never know when there's going to be an air bubble in there, and lots can come out at once, or if it's blocked you might need a pin to open it. So do this, and I'll concentrate on this one because what I'll do is add it to where the highlight is and just fill that space, and then the little one at the end, and then keeping the same pressure on the bottle, go to the next one, drag it along there, and the little one on the end. Then you can choose whether you want to add more to the others, or you could add little dots around them. It's quite fun to add lots of decoration. Once you start adding decorations with this, you'll be adding it to every project. It's quite addictive. So what happens with these highlights is that they dry in the sort of the dome shape. It doesn't flatten down to nothing, so it keeps its shape, which is a lovely effect and very glittery. So there we have it. So I'm going to be very careful with this now, because this will take 1 to 2 hours to dry. So I'm going to put it somewhere safe, and don't get tempted to put it in the envelope or start writing them. So you need to let that dry. So thank you ever so much for joining me making these cards today. This is the craft version. So both designs are available to order online through me. There's a link in the description, and you can order the beginner's kit, the advanced kit, which is what we made today, or the expert kit, or just the stamps. So the stamp set, and then you can make your own versions. You can copy mine or make your own cards. And if you want to share with me any of the projects you've made, I would love to see them. You can either tag me in photos on Instagram. My handle is @DellaByDesign, or on Facebook. You can post on there. That's also Della by Design, or you can email me if you prefer, which is della@dellabydesign.co.uk. I'd love to see what you're creating. But until next time, see you soon. Bye bye.